Every playoff team looks dangerous on paper, but let's be honest, only 2, maybe 3 of these teams actually have what it takes to win the Super Bowl. And the rest, well, they're living off hype, one hot month, or just their logo. Today we're breaking down every playoff team the same way. No excuses, no homer takes. By the end of this episode, you'll know who exactly can survive January and who's lying to themselves. This postseason is going to expose frauds and crown one team that nobody fully trusts yet. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Cincinnati Sports Scene podcast, where we just don't talk about sports. We actually break down what matters. I am your host, Dave, along with my son, Sam. And today, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good one. We're here talking about the NFL playoffs. Yes, playoffs. So we're going to break it down. And here in just a minute, we are going to tell you one reason why each team's going to win the Super Bowl and one reason why they won't. And you want to stick around to the very end of the show where we give our predictions on who will be in the Super Bowl and who we like to win it all. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So how you doing today, son?
All right. Getting over a bout with strep throat. So the antibiotics are really started working this afternoon, so I'm feeling better now.
Well, that is good. That is good. So let's talk a little bit about the breakdown of, you want to break down how we came up with this format. Do you want to explain to them the criteria? You want me to?
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead and go over it here real quick. So pretty much we're going to do a little breakdown on each team, and why each team can win the Super Bowl, and then also why each team can't or won't win the Super Bowl. So some of the criteria that we're going to use, we're going to go through the quarterback, defense, coaching, and then what we have called the January factor, or you could call it the playoff factor or whatever, which is pressure, playing on the road versus at home, injuries, the weather, stuff like that.
Yep. And then, like I said at the end, we're not going to tell you who's going to win the matchup. We're going to let you do that on your own, but we're just going to give you reasons why they can or they will not win the big game. So here we go. Let's lock it in for let's go with the AFC first. And let's just go number 1 seed all the way down. And the Denver Broncos were the number 1 seed. So give us your take here, son, on the Broncos, one reason why they can and one reason why they can't.
Yeah, so one reason why the Broncos can win the Super Bowl is because of Sean Payton. He can scheme a game plan with the best of them. I think Bo Nix is a decent quarterback. I don't think he's great. But with Sean Payton, he knows how to utilize his skill set, the best way possible, and he can get the best out of whoever his quarterback is. In this case, it's Bo Nix. I mean, if the Broncos win the Super Bowl, it's going to be because of Sean Payton and his game plans.
Okay, which is funny because I had why they won't win it is at times their offense was very questionable, right? The rushing attack struggled all year, and playing against some of these elite teams that have great defenses, I think you're going to need to play complementary football. I know Bo Nix is a good quarterback, and he's won some games very, at the end. But if defenses stack the line of scrimmage, will they have enough firepower to overcome it? So that's why they won't win. Moving on to the AFC number 2 team, why the New England Patriots can win, right? And I think a lot of these are going to be not the same, but you've got Mike Vrabel, who's an experienced playoff player. Okay, he's coached in the playoffs before, but Drake May has MVP caliber numbers. 72% completion rate, 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns. I think his ceiling is really good, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion. I think if Drake May produces like he has during the season, the New England Patriots will forget about Tom Brady and they'll win the Super Bowl. So you tell me now why they won't win.
I think they're still too young across the board. We've seen second-year quarterbacks win, but I still think that inexperience can come back to bite you. I mean, their main running back is young. The offensive line is a little young. The defense is elite and pretty veteran. But really, it comes down to the quarterback and the quarterback play. I think Drake May is the perfect quarterback for them. I don't really see him faltering, but being a second-year player, first year in the playoffs, that tends to be the way it goes first before you have the success. Joe Burrow was kind of an outlier. Patrick Mahomes was kind of an outlier, but these are all-time greats. So, if Drake May is an all-time great, then he'll be the outlier versus the Justin Herbert type where he's got all the numbers, he's got all the physical abilities, but his team just constantly loses in the playoffs, or the Lamar Jackson type. You can have the all-time great numbers, but you're not considered the all-time great until you win in the playoffs. Even, Peyton Manning struggled the first couple of years he was in the playoffs. Some of these all-time greats, it does take them a little bit. So that's why they won't win.
Yeah, I agree there. Okay, going on to the number 3 seed, Jacksonville Jaguars versus they play the Buffalo Bills. But go ahead, give us your take on why they can win, and I will do why they won't.
Why they can win is because Trevor Lawrence has been the best quarterback in football the past 8 weeks. He's looked like the number 1 prospect out of high school, the clear consensus number 1 pick. It looks like he's finally kind of lived up to that billing. I don't think he's been a bad quarterback by any stretch, but he hasn't been what everybody thought he was. I mean, he was that next can't-miss prospect after he was supposed to be the sure thing. It took him a little bit, in part because he just had morons as his head coach. That played a role in it. I think Liam Cohen is a good offensive mind. He's very creative, and he's getting Trevor Lawrence in the right spots. But Lawrence is doing a lot with his legs. He's making unbelievable throws, and the Jaguars will go as far as he takes them.
And I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit of why they won't win. According to PFF, red zone drop issues. Jacksonville's receivers led the NFL with 39 drops in 2025. You get in tight situations, you got to put that ball in the right place. I think Trevor Lawrence can do that, but are the receivers, are they going to revert back to this drop happy group, or are they going to be what they were here these last 8 games, right? And that's another thing. Yes, I mean, I know you're saying they're hot. They've won 8 games in a row. They're due for a letdown. They're due for a loss. But yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's the NFL, right?
I guess, yeah. If that's your reason why they won't win, then yeah.
Well, I think the reason is sloppy execution, key moments, drop passes, false starts. I mean, they had that all year. I mean, against the Bengals, that's how the Bengals beat them, is because Trevor Lawrence made bad decisions and they shot themselves in the foot. So now, have they cleaned that up? We'll see. I mean, they are the number 3 seed for a reason. Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess I get to tell you why they're the number 4 seed. We'll talk all about the coaching carousel here at a later episode, but why the Steelers can win. I think the Steelers can win because of their defensive line. If TJ Watt gets healthy, Haywood, it's legendary, right? I mean, their defense, Mike Tomlin knows how to coach. You've got Aaron Rodgers, who has been there, done it, seen it all. He's not going to get rattled. Pittsburgh's tough place to play in. They're going to lean heavy on the run. I think they're going to revert back to smash mouth football, and I think Pittsburgh out of these groups probably plays the best smash mouth football right now, or could traditionally.
The reason why traditionally, yes. The reason why they won't win the Super Bowl is because Mike Tomlin already saved his job just by making the playoffs. He already got, his 9-8 thing squeaking into the playoffs. It's completed. He's got his mission already. He's done for the season. I just don't think they're a good football team. Offense is not very good. I think they can try and be a smash mouth team. I just don't think they're good enough to do it. And so I think Tomlin's already, all of his sayings, he's already exhausted all of them. I don't think he's come up with any new ones to rally the troops for the playoff game. So I don't see it happening for them.
Yeah, they have to rely on the defense a lot because they'll get DJ Metcalf back.
Yeah, they're going to have to win games, 13-10.
Right. And they could, right? They can, because up
They
next is who
could.
they're
They could.
playing.
If there's a team that's going to do that,
Right.
Yeah.
Because they can make you play ugly, because they're playing the Houston Texans, who are the number 5 seed, and you tell me why they can win.
Houston Texans can win the Super Bowl because of their defense. Their defense is, I think, it's the second best in the NFL, best in the AFC. They can rush the passer. They can stuff the run. CJ Stroud, I like him as a quarterback. I think he's a good player, but I think it's their defense. I think their defense will keep them in the game against anybody, will force enough turnovers to help keep them in the game. Their offense isn't going to have to put up 30 points to win. If they can get to 20, they have a really good chance of winning football games just because of how good the defense is. And, they start off with the Steelers, whose offense is no good. So that already bodes well for them. And then going forward, you'll get, Jaguars, Broncos, or Patriots, and that's getting some inexperienced, some young teams, quarterbacks that have never been in the playoffs before. So when you have a great defense, you can maybe ride that.
Yeah, I like that take a lot. But here's the reason why they won't win is they lack their rushing attack, right? They're averaging, or I guess I wouldn't say they're averaging, but PFF notes that the Texans were 30th in rushing success rate and have averaged near the bottom in yards after contact. So if they fall behind early, will they be able to rely on the passing game all the time and let that defensive line of Pittsburgh, pin their ears back and come after CJ Stroud, right? That's what it is. If they got to keep it close, I think, in order for them to have the chance, because Pittsburgh will make them one-dimensional. And I think they're very beatable if they're one-dimensional. Now we're moving on to the 6th seed, the Buffalo Bills. Why they can win, right? Josh Allen. That's why they can win. Even though he is coming into the game, he's hurt. I think their rushing attack, leading by, James Cook is there, but Josh Allen is a threat. And, I think that they're going to try to run the game to keep Jacksonville's offense and Trevor Lawrence off the field, right? So Josh Allen has been there. He's got something to prove with, no Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, and no Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Josh Allen is the guy. And if he doesn't do it, what's his legacy going to be? That right there in itself is enough reason that Josh Allen's going to carry the Buffalo Bills to the promised land.
The reason they won't win the Super Bowl is their lack of explosive playmakers, especially at the receiver position. They don't have anybody that's a real true downfield threat that can kind of, either outrun the defense and just go make a jump ball type play. They don't have anybody that can take a screen for 50 yards to the house. You've got a good running back with Cook, who can have some explosive runs, but they rely on Josh Allen to be Superman way too much. Foot issue, I don't know that that's going to be possible for him. And to be honest, there's too much pressure on him. Because like you just said, no Burrow, no Allen, or no Jackson, no Mahomes. The pressure is only on Josh Allen in the AFC. It's only on him. So I don't know. I think that's why they're not going to win.
We'll see who's right. And the number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Chargers. You got the can win on them.
Yeah, the Chargers can win the Super Bowl because of Justin Herbert. That's the only way they win the Super Bowl, because their offensive line is comparable to the Bengals of the 2021 season when they went to the Super Bowl. It is awful. I have no idea how they're even in the playoffs with the offensive line. Justin Herbert's been a great quarterback. In my opinion, slightly below Burrow, but he's had a Burrow-like season this year, just running for his life, making plays left and right. He's going to have to keep doing that. I believe he can do that. I don't know that he necessarily will, because we've seen him, I don't want to say choke in the playoffs, but not been as good. What was it, a couple years ago when they were up big on the Jaguars, and he just kind of fell apart a little bit. But his defense did too. But he'll be the reason that they win the Super Bowl. It's not because the offensive line is going to block for the run game or give him time, or the defense isn't that great either. He'll be the reason.
And I mean, you've already alluded to why they won't, and it's because of that offensive line. I mean, he was sacked third most in the league, 54 times. They're decimated by injuries, losing Slater and Alt. If he lacks time to throw, New England's tough front four can really disrupt the Chargers in their passing game. Herbert, is going to have to do more with his legs and, more shots. Yeah. I mean, we've seen what a bad offensive line can do for quarterback psyche. And especially if he gets hit early, is he going to have the happy feet and he wants to get rid of the ball before the receivers breaks open? And that's where the interceptions will come. Who knows? But knowing Harbaugh, he's going to have something up his sleeve to make sure that they can run the ball as well. So, yeah. Okay, now moving on to the NFC. So I will have the number 1 seed, the Seattle Seahawks. They've got an elite defense. Plus, they've allowed the second fewest rushing touchdowns over. They have 9 rushing touchdowns, so people are not going to run on them. And I think that you've got to go through Seattle in order to get to the Super Bowl. You got to play in that stadium. And the 12th man is going to be a very, very important part to Seattle's victory to the Super Bowl. Their defense and that noise and that crowd noise is what's going to carry them.
Yeah, their defense is going to have to, because the reason that they won't win the Super Bowl is Sam Darnold's their quarterback. We've seen him in the playoffs with Minnesota last year just absolutely shrink. To his credit, he did play well against San Francisco in the game to win the division and get the 1 seed on Saturday. It wasn't awful, but it's not like he was great either. But he didn't need to be because of that defense. But he will be the reason that they don't. If he has a bad game, Darnold game where he throws 3 picks, I don't know that the defense will be able to hold up, especially if he puts them in bad field position spots.
All right. Moving on to the number 2 seed, the Chicago Bears. The Bears. So, what do you think? They can win it all?
They can win it all because of their offense. Their offense is explosive, can put up points on anybody. They've got a really good run game. Caleb Williams has looked really good in his second year, especially under Ben Johnson. They don't quit. We've seen them come back multiple times, have multiple, late game, under 2-minute touchdown type of plays, especially against, we saw it against the Bengals. They did it. That was maybe more because the Bengals defense sucks, but, they've done it multiple times to multiple teams, including other playoff teams. Ben Johnson's going to have the offense ready to go. And I think Caleb Williams is a big game player. I think he's someone who wants that pressure and wants that environment. Whether he's capable of it, we'll find out. But I think he is, and so that'll be why they won the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see. I think they won't win because of lack of pass rush, right? The Bears were just middle of the pack in sacks at 41 and pressured the quarterbacks on just 32% of dropbacks, which was 25th in the league. You're going against Jordan Love, who's back in game 1. If they can't get to him, right? I think Green Bay will have their number. And if not, then you've got to go, you've got either Philadelphia or, San Francisco coming in. You just don't know. They've got to be able to rush the passer. And if they can't, I just don't know if they're going to be able to hang with these elite teams moving forward. Up next, like I said, the number 3 seed is the Philadelphia Eagles. And why they can win? They have a disruptive front 7. Their defensive line is phenomenal. Their secondary is good. They are coming off the Super Bowl, so that they know how to do it. I think they got a chip on their shoulder. The running game is really, really good as well. You got Jalen Hurts, but you also got Saquon Barkley. They're going to rely heavy on that pound and ground. And I think the defense, right? It's going to be, you gotta be able to get through that front 7 in order to have a chance. And I don't know if teams can stop their run, but we'll find out. Why do you think somebody will beat them?
Oh, so they won't win the Super Bowl because their team chemistry sucks. They won the Super Bowl last year, but it seems like they all just, especially on the offense, they just hate each other for whatever reason. All the stuff that's been leaking out of the locker room, and there is some speculation as well. But when your number 1 receiver doesn't get along with your quarterback, and guys don't really like hanging out with the running back, and there's just all sorts of just little drama just floating around. Their offensive coordinator, nobody likes him. Nobody really likes their head coach. He's kind of a child. Their team chemistry issues will be the reason that they don't go back to back.
All right. And it's tough to go back to back. Who was the last back to back team?
The Chiefs just a couple years ago.
Was it? Okay. Before that, Patriots maybe?
Yeah, but it was just the Chiefs 2 and 3 Super Bowls ago.
Okay. That's how much I pay attention, right? Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, the Chiefs are in it. Should have been the Bengals. But no, let's go to the number 4 seed, Carolina Panthers. How they got in, boy, that division is bad. But so you're going to tell us why they can win. Good luck with that. I will. Yeah. I will tell you why they won't win. So
why they'll win? I mean, it's not a football reason, but the last 2 times they've made the Super Bowl came the year after Ohio State won the NCAA championship and then didn't win it the following year. And also came in a year that Jennifer Lopez got divorced. Both of those things happened this year or last year. They're in the playoffs. Sure, they've got a chance to make the Super Bowl, and that's why they could win. I don't have a football reason for you. Because football reason-wise, they're as good as the Bengals. They just play in a crappier division and got a chance.
Yep, I guess.
I mean, they lost. Their win-or-get-in game, they lost. And then on some stupid tiebreaker, they end up getting in because the Saints or the Falcons beat the Saints, and the Falcons have more division wins because technically the Falcons have the same amount of wins as the Buccaneers and whatever.
It's sort of like how Miami got into the college football playoff, right? But the tiebreaker, and all this stuff. Yeah. So,
right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Who knows?
Or why they weren't in their conference championship, to be more precise. But anyhow.
Yeah.
Reasons why they won't. Well, Bryce Young, just not very good. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
The passing game ranks 26 in explosive plays. His deep pass rate is 8.6, so that they don't get chunk plays. They're going to struggle to run the ball because of that. And, they got to travel to the West Coast. No, they don't. They're hosting. I'm sorry. They're hosting the Rams.
They host.
Yeah, they host. So
who they already beat this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
maybe.
Hey, they'll have the drums banging down there. You never know. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. The passing game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can't run the ball. So yeah, there you go. That's it. All right. So now let's move to those Rams. Why they can win? I think Stafford, Nakua, right? Those guys. This offense can score points at any time on anybody. McVay has been there, done it. Stafford has been there, done it. So they're not, what do you want to call it, rattled going into Carolina, even though they lost to them. And, the old adage is tough to beat a team twice. So we'll see if they can. I think the Rams walk away with it. They can win it because of coaching and quarterback play.
Yeah. The reason why the Rams won't win the Super Bowl, it's more because they're just going to have to go on the road. As the wild card team, odds are they're not going to get a home game. Not that that's a big factor for an LA football team, that they don't really have a home field advantage, but it's helpful for the players. But they're going to have to go on the road, and they already lost to the Panthers. All their losses this year have been to other playoff teams. They beat playoff teams as well, but they can lose to good teams. So I really like the Rams. It's tough for me to come up with the reason why they won't win, but it is hard to go on the road 3 straight playoff games and then make the Super Bowl and then win the Super Bowl. That's really the only reason why I can't see it happening for them. Going on the road 3 straight times is going to be tough, especially if say it's Carolina and then they got to come back to the West Coast, and then say Philly wins and they got to go back east and play Philly again. That's a lot of travel. It
is. And the weather could be difficult.
And the weather could be a factor. Yes.
All right. Moving to the 49ers, who are the 6th seed. So tell us why they can win.
The 49ers can win the Super Bowl because they might be the best all-around team, just in terms of complementary football. Their defense is really good. Their probably going to get Fred Warner back. If not first round, they'll have him back if they can advance. It sounds like he's gearing up to play. They're going to try and get him to play. So that'll be huge for their defense. I think their offense complements their defense really well. If they need to run the ball, they can run the ball. If they need Purdy to throw for 300 yards, he can do that as well. Because you can use McCaffrey in the pass game. Kale's a weapon. Who's the receiver? Juwan Jennings, right? It's Juwan Jennings.
I think so.
Yeah, AU kind of went off the rails. I don't think he's around anymore. I think it's Juwan Jennings is their number one. He's a pretty good receiver. It might be a little more difficult if teams can focus solely on him. So Kittle will have to step up, and McCaffrey will have to be really good out of the backfield, catching in the receiving game as well as running the ball. But I think with Shanahan, the way he can scheme up a game plan and just how well their offense complements their defense and vice versa.
Yeah. Well, I agree with a lot of that, but this is why they will not win. Their pass rush. It may not affect them against the Eagles, but if you're playing the Bears or you have to play the Rams or the Packers, whoever you have to play next, or even the Seattle, when you only get 24 sacks, which is the fewest in the league, and only a 30.5 pressure rate, which is 30th in the league, you can't give quarterbacks time. And no matter who the quarterback is, if they have time to survey the field, especially moving forward, if they were to get by the 49, get by the Eagles, and they have to play a younger quarterback, and they allow him more time to survey and to see the field and get comfortable in the pocket, sort of like a Caleb Williams, it could end the season right then and there for him. So it's just one of those things that I think pass rush, you have to have that front, and they just don't have it anymore. And I just don't think without that they cannot win the Super Bowl. You have to. You're just going to have to be able to get to the quarterback. And then the last team, the Green Bay Packers, and I will tell you why they can win. I think because Jordan Love is back, Matt LaFleur is coaching, and I just think that they have the deep threats. They know how to win. And, maybe not a non-football thing, but Brett Favre won a Super Bowl in his third year as the Packers quarterback. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl in his third year as the Packers starting quarterback. And guess what year this is for Jordan Love? His third year. So the fortunes of Green Bay and the Lombardi Trophy has Green Bay's name written all over it because it's Jordan Love's third year as a starting quarterback.
You can't really argue with that. But I'm going to, because the reason that they won't win is Matt LaFleur can't win the big one in the playoffs. We've seen him multiple times, even with Green Bay as the 1 seed, lose at home to lesser teams that they should have beat with Rodgers as quarterback. They've lost with Love as their quarterback. I just don't know. He's had plenty of opportunities, and so now it's kind of, I'm going to have that belief about LaFleur until he actually proves me wrong, essentially. There's certain guys when it's their first or second year, you can't really say that about them, but when you've made the playoffs 5 times and, as a higher seed, you've lost a couple games at home to lesser teams, you can kind of get that reputation. Maybe you just don't win the big one. You're just a regular season coach that can get your team to the playoffs. So we'll have to see if that holds up this year or not.
Yes. All right. So now there you have it. A couple of reasons why each team could win the Super Bowl and a couple of reasons why they won't win the Super Bowl. Go ahead and drop your comments below of who you think. Give us one thing that we missed, or one reason why you think this team will win the Super Bowl, this team will not win the Super Bowl. And we'll read those on, and then we'll come back with some of the best takes from our audience. But moving on, we are going to be talking now. We're going to give our predictions on who will actually be in the Super Bowl and who is going to win the Super Bowl. Sam, who do you got?
For who's going to be in, that's tough. I'm going to go with, in the NFC, I'm going to go with the Rams. And I think that they are going to play, going back and forth on this a couple times. I'm going to say the Patriots. I'm going to go with New England. As much as I don't, as just a fan, I just don't want New England to be back in this already. Can get more than 4 years of being bad.
Right.
Crying out loud. I just think they are. I just don't see any of the other AFC teams really being a true threat this year. I just don't.
All right. So you got
Unless
Rams.
Josh Allen just is an absolute superhero.
You said Rams and
Rams Patriots.
Rams Patriots. Well, I had the Rams coming out of it as well, but I have the Broncos. I think having the number 1 seed coming into, well, not Mile High, at Invesco Field, I guess. I think that is going to add to the Broncos' lore, and it's going to help them get over the hump. I think Bo Nix is, even though he's a second-year quarterback, but he's like 35 years old or something like that because he's been in college for 20 years.
That's
And
true,
he's played in
years
big,
old.
Yeah, he's played in big games in college. So hey, it is what it is, right? He's used to big games. So, and I think Denver Rams. Who's winning and what's the score?
I'm going to go Rams over the Patriots. I'm going to go 27-20.
I'm going to go Denver over the Rams, 34-31. There you have it, folks. Drop us who you think is going to win it all this year, and leave in the comments with the scores, and we'll review those and let you know if you agree with us or you don't agree with us, right? So go ahead and do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It helps grow the show, so we appreciate that. And then next week, we are going to be shifting gears to the college football playoffs. I know we're coming to you on a Wednesday night. This will be posted on Thursday, which will be the first semifinal game. And so we're going to break down the championship game. And we're also going to talk a little bit about, the brokenness of college football, transfer portals, coaching carousels, the mess, and what can be done to fix it. And we're going to give suggestions. So you want to stick around and stay tuned. Hit that notification so you know when we're coming on with that. So CFP expansion, portal chaos, real solutions. You do not want to miss it. And that about wraps up episode 158 of the Cincinnati Sports Scene podcast. Till next week, everybody, take care.
See you.